even as a Nigerian American, they even look at me, I don't have culture. They look at me as like I am just Oyinbo. They call me Oyinbo. They call me all these terminologies because they don't look at me as being African. I'm not African to them. I'm American. That's exactly how they view me. I don't feel really, I have a hard time making friends there. I was there for 7 months. I have a hard time making friends. I have a hard time really like truly.
This is home in Nigeria.
In Nigeria. You understand? So I don't know. I feel like this is my home, but me too. I yearn for that connection. I yearn to want to go back home and connect with where I'm from and embrace my culture and everything like that. But yeah, I sometimes too, I feel like an outsider. So I can definitely relate to that. I've even gotten to like little arguments in like my Uber drivers and they Uber drivers in Nigeria, they're so useless. I'm sorry, I had to put that out. So I'm sorry. I have to say that. But they will come at me because sometimes maybe I may be talking to them and giving them direction. This is your English or your phone. Calm down. I don't understand this, your English. I'm like, what do you, I'm speaking normal, but my accent sometimes is too much. But I tone down. Even still, I tone down. I try to talk as if I'm from Nigeria, and still my accent is still too strong. My American accent is still too strong for them. So it's like myself, I can relate to you guys as well because I feel like trying to connect, find that sense of belonging. I yearn for that as well. But it's so hard when I'm not being embraced. I'm not feeling like I'm welcomed.
So now
you know what I'm saying?
Imagine that with us in America, Africans and African Americans not embracing each other.
Right.
Imagine that we're in the same hole, in the same
It's the same thing, basically.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching my videos from. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad to be here today talking to you. I'm so sorry I'm not in my office, but I borrowed somewhere so that I can shoot this video because I want to talk about Black Americans. I want to talk about Africans in diaspora. I want to talk about the Caribbean. The love you are showing to Africans is out of this world, because Africans have done a lot of things to you, and I have seen a number of Black Americans complaining about Africans, more so those Africans who are going to the States. Black Americans are complaining about them. I've created videos. The problem that Africans have with Black Americans, it has made some Black Americans to say that they even don't consider Africa as their home. They even don't consider coming back to Africa because of what Africans are doing to them. Number one, they are saying Africans are siding with the whites. Africans are siding with the system. And another thing they are saying is that Africans, they don't respect them. They think that they are lazy. They say Black Americans are like this and this. Name all those stereotypes that Africans have been told about Black Americans. And that is one of the reasons why Black Americans, most of them or some of them, have given up on Africans. I've done videos and I can see too on my comment section how some of Black Americans talk about Africa. But today I'm asserting that I want to say this: Black Americans have never gave up on Africa. Black Americans have never give up on Africans, despite of all the things that they see from the side of Africans. Now, before I continue, I have featured some clips here. I don't know if it will have meaning to you, but I want you to watch these clips of Black Americans talking about Africa, and then we'll come back here and continue. But remember this: unity is all we want. And Black Americans, I salute you, men, for fighting so hard. Caribbeans, I salute you, despite of the stereotypes we Africans perceive from you, or you are still standing with us. You have never gave up on us. Watch this clip and then we continue.
Take a look at this.
I went to Africa for the first time. People talk about how when you get off that plane and you put your foot on African soil, something happens. And I'm like, okay, cool. Woo woo, Bro, when I got off that plane, I set my foot, on my right foot or my left foot, on the ground in Africa, in Johannesburg, at that airport. And the overwhelming feeling, accompanied with goosebumps that hit me, was home. Something came over me when my natural physical body was reunited to the soil of the DNA from which I came. That space, something came over me. That was nothing I'd ever felt before. And I think what I'm saying today is that we have to align ourselves with the original design for us.
So, where are you from?
Houston, Texas.
And you?
Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay.
Orlando, Florida.
Okay, so is it safe to say you're all African Americans?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, what are your thoughts on Africa?
I've never been to Africa, but I think it's a beautiful place, and I would really love to visit sometime.
Okay, and you?
I'm a history major, so I learned a lot about African history, and I think that there's a lot of culture, and it traces back to our roots. So, I mean, I haven't been either, but I've learned a lot about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, my best friend is Ethiopian, so I grew up really immersed in the culture. Like I celebrate their holidays, I wear their dresses, so I've really grown up and been immersed in the Ethiopian culture.
Awesome, awesome. The reason why I'm doing this interview is I want to bring awareness that the strength of Black people is actually in Africa uniting. Because when Africa unites and becomes a superpower, who can mess with people of African descent? You know what I mean? And right now there's a scramble for Africa. Everybody else is benefiting from Africa except people that belong to the soil. And I'm just preaching this and using the movement. I'm using fashion to spread the word. So I hope you wear it on campus and send me some pictures. Thank you so much. Africa must unite. Black units. Because when Africa unites, everybody is finished. Okay? All right, thank you so much. Let me grab the hats. So there you go. You get a hat.
Why are y'all so ashamed of being culturally connected to Africa? What's crazy is that this little picture that I posted is just me pointing out something that I find ironic, and I have people in the comments explaining themselves and defending themselves. It's okay, y'all. I'm not the cultural police. This whole there's no experience like the Black experience, I didn't say anything about that. I'm an African American, or a Black American, if that makes y'all more comfortable, right? I know that there's an entire culture that we have built up in this country, right? But that culture would not exist without Africa or the Africans, aka our ancestors that came here. Our culture is influenced by African culture. That is not something that you can debate. That is not a matter of opinion. That is a fact. Some of y'all speak about our history in this country as if these enslaved Africans came to this country and magically forgot all their customs, everything. And what's even wilder about this whole entire conversation, which isn't even a conversation because a lot of y'all are just screaming and hooting and hollering in the comments, is that Sinners just came out, a month ago? And you have that beautiful scene of Sammy playing and singing, right? And you see how he's connecting the past and the future, right? And then I'm sitting here seeing all y'all talk about how all of that is just a load of BS. If you want to say, hey, I don't feel connected to African culture, or I don't feel connected to Africa, that is okay. You're more than welcome to say that. Or if you want to say, hey, I like Black American more than African American, that is fine. Again, I never told anybody how they should identify. I never told any of y'all, you have to say you're African American. I can't do that. I can't force you to do that. But yes, if you are Black like me, you are an African descendant. That is not up for debate. And that should not trigger y'all the way that it is. And also, you left another comment that I really did not like because it was rather condescending. One, please make sure you spell my name correctly if you're going to try to address me as if you're my family member. Two, please don't try to be condescending, especially if I'm saying something that actually is intelligent. Please don't try to disrespect my intelligence if I'm actually not saying something that's a load of BS. You know what I'm saying? Be able to tell the difference between the two before you try to come for my, intelligence. And this whole thing of the time is now to give Black Americans their flowers. Nothing that I have said takes away the flowers from Black Americans or Black American culture. Nothing. Not a single thing.
One thing I can't believe we're still doing in this day and age is having a debate between whether or not you can identify as both Black American and African. You hear my accent. Clearly I'm born and raised here. You see my bracelet. Clearly I'm repping another country. Two things can be true at the same time. And yet, without fail, if I want to speak on African issues, somebody tells me you're American, please close your mouth. And even more cruelly, when I want to speak on Black American topics, people say you're African, you don't know anything about our lives. Despite the fact that, once again, I'm born and raised here, the majority of what I know from a historical perspective is about our history in America, not our history in Africa. And me knowing anything about African culture, politics, or current events is really me going out of my way to stay informed because American media does not necessarily want to tell us anything about what's going on outside of this country. And the same thing happens to Afro-Latinos. The same thing happens to mixed people. It's getting old at this point. Because one thing that has been consistently good for society is having people who understand the nuance of existing between different states. It's why we're encouraged to learn multiple languages, because if you can understand that tone and syntax and grammar are able to vary across different places and still create meaning, you can understand that there's no one correct way to do anything in this world. If you're able to understand that a cultural taboo in one place is actually a cultural norm in another place, then you have a lot more access to finding an individual identity that works for you, that is free from societal expectations and norms. And pattern recognition through history is actually something that's amazingly important for all of us. Because when something happens in your region that has never happened before, or at the very least that you're mostly unfamiliar with, you can look to other regions who have been through that and learn something. Knowing all of the wrong things to do in a certain situation means that you can actually get to the right solutions a lot more quickly. So yeah, if anybody continues to want me to choose a side, I want you to know that I'm simply not doing it. My life experiences are influenced by the fact that my parents were from another country, but I was born and raised here. And in fact, they made that choice deliberately, and I'm fortunate to be able to say that they did. Because of them, I've grown into a person who understands nuance in a way that some of you simply refuse to. I've learned to have compassion and empathy for folks who look nothing like me and who have no similar cultural background. But I've also learned the understanding of community and identity and sticking by people who stick by you. So hi, my name is Effa. I am an African American person who identifies as Black. And no amount of hateful comments on the internet is going to erase that identity. Thanks.
When you just leave Kenya and you back in at home, you back in the States, and all I could think of is, I don't want to be here. I want to go back to where I was at. I want to go back to where I feel like I belong. I don't belong here. I don't want to be here. I want to go back to Kenya. I want to go back to Kenya so bad. And it's only been one day. I don't belong here. I want to go back. Can somebody please send me back to Kenya? Please, please. I don't want to be here. I'm only here because I have to go to work. But I don't want to be here. That's all I could think of. I don't want to. I'm going back home. Kenya is my new home.
Let me tell you guys something. As an African American woman, the best compliment, like I'm talking sends my ego through the roof, is when someone looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, you're African. Where are you from?" African people are beautiful. They're top tier. They're gorgeous. If only, I wish I knew. I mean, obviously I am, but I wish I knew where and when. I wish. So to be called a goddess in real life, it brings real joy to my face. Like, I literally almost kind of want to hit the Dougie every time somebody says to me, "Aren't you African? Are you African? Where are you from?" And I sadly have to go, "No, babe, I'm African American. I mean, I am, but like, I just don't know. But I'm going to find out because I really want to know."
If there's one thing that I can count on, is that our community knows how to show love in times where we need it the most. This is the time where we don't stop. This is the time where we keep our martyrs' names alive. From Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Muammar Gaddafi, and the latest African king, Ibrahim Traore. Talk to each other, teach each other, heal each other. Africa is waking up. And I never thought I'd see in my lifetime where we will be liberated. They never thought that we would be in communication with one another. They thought they could still push their propaganda onto us. And oh yeah, we read newspapers and see the news, but they never thought that we talk to each other so we can decipher whether or not it's bullshit or whether or not it's real. And we are putting the pieces of the puzzles together and working out that 2 + 2 does not equal 5. And that we have a right to question that, to question media, to question governments, to question leaders. My heart breaks into 1,000 pieces knowing what the West did to those African leaders who tried to free their people. But Ibrahim is our saving grace. Ibrahim is our African king. And Ibrahim will be the catalyst to liberate Africa. So to the citizens of Burkina Faso, we are there with you. We are there in spirit. We are there in voice. We are there to protect you. And to my black sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles, aunties, nannies, granddads, wherever you are, you know this is the time. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your belly. It's the time. Wake up. Wake up and do what's right.
So I've been in Ghana for the past week. This is my second visit. And surprisingly, this is what I've learned. Africans do not hate us. Africans don't hate us at all. As a matter of fact, that is what the media tells us. So we don't come here. So we don't connect with our culture, with our people, with our roots. They tell us that, so we stay away. So we don't help build our communities. They want to keep communities poor. And they show us the worst parts of Africa, so we're not interested in coming. But it's all a lie. I have not been mistreated at all since I've been here. I've actually been shown a lot of love. A lot of love. They love to see us coming back. Is there jealousy? Do you get side eyes from people? Yeah, of course. That's anywhere you go. That's everywhere. If you've been wanting to come back home, come back home. I have the most peace. And I definitely don't spend a lot of money when I'm here. But come back home. Stop letting the white folks lie to y'all and tell y'all that Africa is poor. So is America. America's poor too. America's poor too. But you know what? You make the best out of wherever you are. Ghana is a beautiful place. Don't let anybody just stop believing what other people tell you and just come experience for yourself. Beautiful communities. Come on. Just come. Right now, I'm on the roadside, going to get some fruit. You know how much I'll spend? No more than $7.
Welcome back. I said I'm sorry if you can't hear my voice well because of the rain, but please, I will try so hard to reduce the rain noise so that you can hear me well. Now, straight to the point. Black Americans have never gave up on Africans. Black Americans are not giving up on Africans despite of everything. I have played you videos of Black Americans coming to Africa, visiting the motherland, visiting Burkina Faso. They are entering in plane in numbers and coming to Africa despite of everything that's going on. Let me tell you for free. And this message, I want all Africans to hear this. We have been told falsely about Black Americans. They have been accused a number of times of the things that they are not. Black Americans have done a lot for the continent, Africa. That's for sure. Indirect or directly. Black Americans have built a lot of empires. The America that you all run going there about the American dream is the work and hands and sweat and blood of Black Americans. We have a lot have died because of trying to build the country America. As an African, if you are going to America and yet you are getting false information about Black Americans, instead of you thinking about it, instead of you trying to talk with them so that we know if this is true, you just buy the story immediately and you continue disrespecting Black Americans, disrespecting Caribbeans because they are not from the motherland. That is wrong. I know that some of Black Americans may have this attitude that they say they have attitude. Maybe they can be angry, but I think most of the things is because of the trauma they have been going for years, generation after generation. One will say that this generation is not going through a lot. It does not face the trauma. No, this generation still is going through the trauma of their forefathers because the racism, the discrimination, the police brutality, the mass incarceration is still going there. In education sector, in wage gap, still up to now, Black Americans are still not able to pick up, or they are not still able to reduce the gap between the rich white people who took away from their parents, who took away from the ancestors who tried so hard, the ancestors who built the countries from the ground, the ancestors who tried, and each and every sweat, the money that come out of that sweat was taken by the white system. And that's why the wage gap is there between black Americans and other communities in America. When I talk about black Americans, the ancestors working hard from picking cotton to each and every these things, I will not cease to talk about how America, how the white America have been trying so hard to reap where they did not sow. Even right now, they are ripping off this music industry, black people culture, they are ripping off black people trend, they are ripping off black people fashion, they are ripping off black people music culture, the hip hop and R&B and each. I'm sorry to say, but it is true that Africans, we have failed our fellow brothers a number of times. Not all Africans, but some Africans have really failed our black American brothers, our Caribbean brothers for a number of times in the US state. One of the ladies say that if you are an African, you are not black first. You are an immigrant first, then you are African, then you are Nigerian or Ghanaian or you are Kenyan, then black will come last. An African saying that black does not define us as Africans, he or she is wrong. We are all the same in the eyes of the system. We are all the same in the eyes of the oppressor. Whenever you come from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Ghana, from South Sudan, when you come from South Africa, when you enter a room full of white Americans, the first thing they see is your color. Never say they don't see color. First thing they see when you enter a room full of white people, they will see a color. First thing I see when white person, enter a room of black people, they will see a white person is here, a Mzungu is here. We cannot try to blueband this issue. We cannot try to sweeten this issue. Yes, we Africans, we are defined by black, but they will tell you we don't see your color. You are from Uganda, but this is a black American. They will tell you I don't see your color. You are a Zimbabwean, but they will see a color in a black American. And that's why every day I say we need to unite and let black Americans find their roots in Africa. I want black Americans to identify themselves as Africans from Liberia, Africans from Sierra Leone, Africans from Angola. This name, Black Americans, it was put there so that it can continue to oppress. You are being oppressed through your names. And let me tell you, brethren, the fact that black Americans never gave up or don't give up on us elsewhere, it's not a passport or a visa for us Africans to continue stepping our foot on their head. They are doing a lot and they have done a lot, and as I live and I have known black Americans, they will never cease to assist, whether you are Latino, Asian America, Arab, or anyone. They will talk about you. They will support when you need. And black Americans, my message to you is simple and clear. Don't take all Africans into one bucket. Not all Africans think the same. Some of us, we think of welcoming you. I would love to see a black Americans building here in Kenya. I would love to see a black American looking for land here in Kenya. That is my dream. My dream is pure. My mind is pure on you, black American. I love you. And a lot of here Africans love you so much. And let me tell you a thing. Everywhere you go, you will always find one rotten Irish potato. Africans not all think negative about you. And we know black Americans, not you all react the same. There is not all of you who are lazy or so bitter. No, but few. But I understand the bitterness that come from black Americans. Can you imagine entering in a grocery store being followed, man? Can you enter? Can you imagine a police has waved you down, and the only thing that will help you is to remove a camera phone and start recording because you don't know what is next? That is trauma, a very big trauma that it's never ending anytime soon. It's never ending anytime soon if we don't unite. And black Americans, I have seen you supporting our brother Ibrahim Traore. I have seen you going to the street fighting for Ibrahim Traore. You have never met this man. We have barely seen him, but he is here. He has done. You have changed your tune on Africa. Some of black Americans, I see you coming in Burkina Faso. You have booked your aeroplanes and jumped into the jets and aeroplanes and come down here in Africa to support this brother Ibrahim Traore. I salute you, man. The thing you showed to the community of Africans, I will never forget that, because you shocked the entire world. They think that they are pushing you away, but you keep on coming because you know the ancestors are here. You know the spirit of your ancestors is still calling you, because you as a black American, you believe so hard in Africa, and that's why you are giving Africans chance after chance. That's why most of you are coming back in Africa day after day. I've seen a lot of you black Americans sending text message to other black Americans telling them you should visit Africa because you have tried it. And when we talk about Africa, some black Americans are complaining that there is theft and everything. But let me tell you this one clear thing. Insecurity is everywhere. Thuggery may be everywhere. Robbery, it's everywhere. When you hear about Africa, Africa is not a forest. Africa is a country, is a continent. So don't take each and everything and put it in Africa. As I have said, black Americans, we have a lot of you. Africa is just a continent, but we have a lot of countries inside. A lot. So one thing that happened to you somewhere in Somaliland does not reflect what's going to happen to you in Tanzania. Something that happened to you in Tanzania, you are not sure that's going to happen to you in Kenya. We are different states and we are fighting for sovereignty. I wish you all to visit here and see how much the Africans in the ground, they love you. Don't react or don't judge with those who throw their words on social media ranting anyhowly without having a limitation. Think about Africa as a continent. Think about your ancestors. Think about the souls that are in the motherland, that they still love you. So let me say this. I'm so happy that black Americans are not giving up to Africans. When I see black Americans talking about Africa, I feel so good. When I see black Americans supporting Ibrahim Traore, I feel so good. When I see black Americans supporting Goita, I feel so good. And I'm so happy that I am part of the journey of the unity between black Americans and Africans. I'm so happy that I'm in between this journey. I am the mediator between these two people, black Americans and us Africans. I'm trying to teach my African brothers that we have some things that we call stereotypes, that we don't need to buy those stereotypes, because buying those stereotypes, it is so expensive. It will end up ruining everything that we are trying to mend. And the secret, the threat that is between this, it is the unity. Unity is the biggest threat of the white system or white America. Yes, that's true. So the thing you did of going to the street because of Ibrahim Traore too showed them that we are not buying their agendas. We are different generation, a generation that want to see the Pan-African alive again. We are a generation that want to see that Black Americans got direct flights to countries of their choice in Africa, visa free, and having a nice stay and loving each and every country. And that is what they fear, because once Black Americans, you start flocking in Africa, you will teach the owner how to catch the fish, and the fish will be going down. And this government that are here, they are being pumped by the white or Western powers, does not allow that. But at the end of the day, my happiness still remain the same, that Black Americans, I salute you for not giving up in Africans. I have known a lot of some of Latinos, some of Asians, some of white people, they have said to Black Americans that they are sorry because they never know what it is. They are sorry because they know Black Americans have fight for them. But Africans have never seen, never heard saying that. But let me tell you, as an African, Black American, as an African from Kenya, I'm saying this. I'm so sorry to Black Americans. I know the role you are playing to Africa. And let me tell you this. We were lied about you. A lot of us were lied about you. And you have been fighting for the rights of everyone. As Africans, immigrants, you have been fighting for us and for Latinos and for Asian and all minority group. Your heart is pure. And that's why I'm saying this. I know your struggle as an African, and I'm going to talk with my brothers and sisters so that we can continue to send this message abroad that we are here to stay, and we are staying with you, and we are uniting together so that we can push this agenda forward. So I will say this: we as Black or we as Africans and the Black Americans, the love that we have together, the unity that we have to build, let us stay strong and strong and strong. Okay? Until next episode, peace out.